All right, first 10, next 72. Little pit stop, talking all things NBA. We can go Knicks, we can go general. Kind of want to get your general thoughts here.
Yeah.
Anything just league-wide, you cover the league, nationally, locally. Thoughts just overall, any themes you like first 10, and then maybe some adjustments you want to see. Just overall, any team stick out or just any theme?
Yeah, I think overall people are complaining about threes and all this other stuff. I'm fine with the transition to more threes and layups. It's a math problem. People are really starting to figure it out with the analytical departments coming in, and that's just the smart way to play. No matter what change you would like to see in the NBA, they're going to evolve, and there'll always be an issue of there's too many threes or there's too many layups or what have you. I think the biggest issue is finding reasons to watch and giving reasons guys to care, or for guys to care for all 82, just because it's such a grind, and that's kind of what this NBA Cup is about. More than anything, a team that's going to come down to earth is the Warriors.
Really?
Yes. I believe they're going to come down to earth.
More on the defensive side?
Well, listen, defense is one of the top units in the league, like top 3. They've played a top 15 offense, I think 3 times. Twice maybe, with Boston and the Thunder.
And they lost to Cleveland.
And then got blown out by Cleveland. So they played 3. They played the Celtics, who were a top 5 offense. They're one of the best in the league. They played the Thunder, one of the best in the league, and then they played Cleveland, who was the best in the league at the time, and they got dusted off. The Celtics were without Jaylen Brown. They then played the Thunder, and Chet fractures his hip in the first 5 minutes. So they get fortunate there. They don't have to play 2 superstars in those 2 matchups. The rest of the games, they played the Pelicans twice. They played all these teams that are just inferior. They don't rebound really well. They allow a ton of second chance points. And what we saw in Dallas last night was worse play from Dallas for me than the Warriors coming out and playing spectacular basketball. So I think they're going to come down to earth a little bit. Dallas was missing P.J. Washington. They've had a fortunate schedule. Buddy Hield has been shooting the leather off the rock to start the year. Draymond Green is shooting the 3. He seems to be extremely dialed in. I don't know if that tails off, but I know it'll tail off shooting-wise. He's been shooting lights out from 3. Draymond Green. So there's a lot of things going right for Golden State. I think overall they're playing well, but they're going to come down to earth. That's my biggest takeaway of the first 10 games of the year.
I like it. I think from a three-point perspective, it's fascinating because it's sort of like I'm going a little bit off to come back with a little bit of a metaphor, but it's like everyone in the NFL trying to be, not the Chiefs on offense this year.
Yeah.
Just pick a prolific offense. Maybe everyone's trying to be the Lions or trying to be the Ravens. It's like, well, you don't have King Henry or you don't have Montgomery and Gibbs back there. It's like not everyone has these 3-point shooters.
Yeah, you don't have the facilities for that, big man. You don't have the roster.
Yeah, it's like the Celtics have 5 guys that, with their eyes closed, can shoot mid to high 30s from 3-point land. Not a lot of teams have that. In fact, I'm looking at it. It's like 2 teams are even shooting above 40% from 3, and it's Cleveland and Denver. So I'm just seeing after the first 10, maybe we'll actually see a little bit of all these teams trying to take more threes, maybe try to approach things from a balanced perspective, which probably gives us a better product.
Yeah, and a perfect example is the Bulls are number 1 in pace in the NBA.
Yeah.
Or for a vast majority of the 10 games, they're number 1 in the NBA. They don't have the roster for that. They're running the fast break like they're a Ferrari, but they have a Mazda for the roster. So you could want to be fast and play fast and get up and down, but if you don't have the horses, it's not going to work. And I think the Bulls are a perfect example of what you're saying.
Yeah, and
Bulls are number 1 in pace, 22nd in defensive rating now.
Yeah.
See, I like these games when you have like a Knicks slower pace club against a team like a Pacers or someone maybe even like Boston. That just it's an interesting contrast in styles. And then back to our earlier point, who gets who to kind of buy into playing their style, which I think we should make a point, finding reasons to watch night in, night out. That's where if you're not a gambler, you got to kind of look at like, all right, matchups, maybe one-on-ones or team style, or even look at good coaching matchups. Yeah, like a Spoelstra versus a Nick Nurse on a Tuesday.
No doubt. And I think that's that's when you really, I believe, start to really appreciate sports. If you really want to dial in, I think you do got to get a little more granular and start looking at specific matchups and appreciate the smaller wins than this overall scope of. For example, a perfect example is I loved the 3 that Steph Curry did the night against the Mavs. They come down and they give him 2 ball screens to get him the matchup that he wants. His first matchup when he crosses half court, the clock is running out, and it's clear that Steph's going to go ahead and do his thing one-on-one.
Oh, yeah.
Quentin Grimes is on the ball.
QG.
That's not the best matchup. QG can play D.
Oh, yeah.
He can move his feet. Let's get him a screen. Wiggins comes over, gets the switch, pulls Luka, takes Grimes on the switch, leaves Luka there for the one-on-one. Now, Luka, to be completely honest, have been playing pretty good D that entire game.
Better D than O, arguably.
Yeah.
He can sniff a triple dot.
Yeah. He'd been playing really well. Shot clock starting to wean a little bit. Draymond's like, you know what? I could get him an even better matchup. Let me go set another screen and get Luka, leave Derek Lively here. And as soon as they got the switch for Derek Lively, Steph Curry went to work. So when you can appreciate like that type of stuff, you're really going to love basketball. If you really start to appreciate simple touches in soccer, balls coming to people's feet, how they handle it, cross pitch passes, you'll really start to like soccer. Those type of matchups, corners flipping their hips against number 1 wide receivers and breaking on balls and knocking them down, that type of stuff is when you really start to appreciate sports. So yeah, man, I think those are really good points. If you really want
to, it's a great point.
Just dive in and get detail oriented, I think the Tuesday matchup can be a lot of fun.
And putting just a button on just overall, you mentioned Warriors, Bucks losing 8 of their first 10, couple injuries, Thunder with no Chet, anything from the first 10 games that from a betting perspective we could capitalize on or maybe take the gas off and need to see more?
Yeah, betting perspective, I think it's still very wide open. I'm very interested to see how long Jokic could keep this up.
Yeah.
Because they're winning on the back of him legitimately scoring 35, 13, 16, 37% usage, no Aaron Gordon. Christian Brown is getting tons of minutes. Jamal Murray is on and off the court, and when he's been on, he hasn't been that good. So that's something and it's clear that Jokic is really engaged and fired up early on in the year. You saw him on the bench the other night.
Yeah.
Michael Porter Jr. shooting it well, but how long can Jokic keep this up on a night-to-night? Can he just go 50 games? Can he average 30, 12, and 12?
People just sleep on him because he goes and switches to horse racing as soon as it hits triple zeros. He's got a lot of dog. He's a
monster. He's the closest thing to unstoppable I've seen in the NBA in a long, long time. Offensively, he's unstoppable.
Here's one just to sit on. We talk about it off air, on air. How do we pinpoint where Giannis is getting traded to and jump on that futures? Because if it's a Nets futures that we got to jump on, we got to call somebody.
Yeah, no comment on Giannis trade
we'll
rumors.
see. Combination of some slow starts and then maybe some superstars being dealt here in the first 10. Looking forward to the next 72.
It's been a fun first 10 for sure.
Without question.